In a crowded city where the nights stretched endlessly and the mornings always felt rushed, there lived a young man named Dev. Every morning, Dev struggled to get out of bed. His alarm would ring again and again, and still he would find excuses to stay under the covers. By the time he finally forced himself up, the best parts of the morning were already gone. He rushed through breakfast, stumbled into work half awake, and spent the rest of the day trying to catch up. Every night he promised himself that tomorrow would be different, but every morning, the same story repeated. Deep inside, Dev envied the few people he knew who woke early with energy and purpose. They seemed to own their days, while he felt like he was forever chasing time. Still, he believed waking up early was a gift, something you were either born with or not. What he didn't realize yet was that waking up early wasn't a matter of luck. It was a matter of choice, discipline, and a series of small, consistent habits that could change everything. One evening, after another exhausting day, Dev decided to seek advice from his uncle, a man known for his calm presence and incredible productivity. Over a simple cup of tea, Dev confessed his struggle, expecting to hear about magical tricks or secret formulas. Instead, his uncle smiled and said, "Waking up early is not about forcing yourself to move. It's about giving yourself a reason that pulls you out of bed." He explained that motivation fades when it's based on guilt or pressure, but when rooted in purpose, it becomes a force you cannot resist. His uncle shared a simple plan. For the next 30 days, Dev would shift his entire night routine. He would set a fixed bedtime, remove distractions an hour before sleep, and write down one important reason every night for why he needed to wake early. No more scrolling through his phone. No more sleeping without intention. Dev was skeptical but desperate enough to try. That night, he prepared himself for the next morning, not just with an alarm, but with a promise to his future self. The first morning was harder than Dev expected. His alarm rang in the darkness, and every part of him begged for just 5 more minutes. But then he remembered the reason he had written the night before. "I want to take control of my life, not chase after it." He forced himself out of bed, groggy and half-hearted, but moving. The second morning was no easier, nor was the third. But each day, as he honored his small promise, something began to shift. His body adjusted. His mind grew sharper. The mornings became a sacred space, quiet, still, full of opportunity. Dev found time to read, to plan his day, to exercise, and to simply breathe before the chaos of the world awoke. Little by little, he stopped seeing mornings as battles and started seeing them as gifts. It wasn't about perfection. Some mornings were harder than others, but Dev learned that success wasn't built on the days you felt strong. It was built on the days you got up even when you felt weak, and in those quiet victories his life began to transform. By the end of the second week, Dev noticed something incredible. He was no longer rushing through his days, feeling behind and overwhelmed. Instead, he was ahead, mentally, physically, and emotionally. He started arriving at work early, prepared and focused. He had time for quiet reflection before meetings, time for thoughtful planning instead of reactive scrambling. His relationships improved too. With more control over his mornings, he had more patience, more kindness, more energy to give. Friends and coworkers began asking what had changed, but Dev knew it wasn't just waking up early. It was who he had become by mastering the first battle of every day. He realized that each morning was a test of discipline, a small but powerful decision to put purpose before comfort. Dev understood now that waking up early wasn't about being a morning person. It was about being a person who honored his commitments, even when no one else was watching. And through these small private victories, he was building a life far stronger than anything he had imagined. As the 30 days came to an end, Dev sat quietly on his balcony, watching the first light of dawn paint the sky with soft colors. This simple moment, once so foreign to him, had become his favorite part of the day. He thought back to who he had been, a man trapped by his own excuses, waiting for life to change on its own. But change hadn't come from wishing. It had come from choosing discipline over comfort, choosing purpose over procrastination. Day by day, he had proven to himself that strength wasn't found in grand gestures, but in quiet consistency. He realized that the greatest transformations often happen not with loud breakthroughs, but with silent perseverance, when no one else is cheering and no reward seems near. His mornings were no longer a battle. They had become his foundation. Dev understood now that waking up early wasn't just about gaining more hours. It was about gaining more control over his time, his habits, and ultimately his life, and that kind of control was priceless. And years later, Dev would often be asked the secret behind his calm energy, his success, and his steady rise through life's challenges. He would simply smile and say, "It started with one promise, to honor my mornings, no matter how hard it was." He knew that discipline was not about making one big heroic move. It was about the silent choices made every day when no one was watching. Waking up early had taught him something far bigger than just time management. It had taught him self-respect. It had taught him that greatness isn't won in front of crowds. It is earned quietly, in those invisible moments when you choose strength over comfort. Dev's life had changed because he had changed. Not by force, not by luck, but by discipline, steady, patient, and relentless. And now, ask yourself, are you waiting for life to push you forward? Or are you ready to claim your mornings and quietly build the